Jai Baba. Let me tell you as much as I know of how beloved Baba came to be known in Australia, and then ultimately to come to Australia. In 1910, a certain saint, Inayat Khan, he was declared by Meher Baba to be a genuine fifth plane saint. And he was told by his master, Sufi master, to go to the West and spread the message of Sufism in the West. And so he did so, and came to Europe in 1910 and also visited the United States of America. There his first pupil was a Jewish woman. I don't know her Christian name. All I know, it was the name that Inayat Khan gave to her, Rabia Martin. And she was obviously a very sincere person. And she ultimately became his successor to head the Sufi society which Inayat Khan established on his arrival in Europe and America. Another one of his pupils was a Baron von Frankenberg. I'm not sure when he studied under Inayat Khan, but I do know that it was only 18 months, and Inayat Khan was not happy with his rather quick departure to Australia, where he married a well-to-do, wealthy woman, certainly wealthy woman, and Inayat Khan passed away in 1927, and as I've said, he had named his successor as Rabia Martin. She then became Murshida, which means master of a certain standing. And during the 1930s, remembering that the Baron von Frankenberg had been a pupil of Inayat Khan, she wrote to him and suggested that he establish a branch of the Sufi society in Australia, which he did, as far as I'm aware, around the middle 30s, but more like 1937, I think. And he had certain people became interested and studied under him. A rather complicated series of stages of study, of papers established by Inayat Khan that led to initiation into the Sufi society, which obviously signified a dedication to the Sufi path to God, which is a path of love, adherence to the master, Yes. Simply study under a master that would eventually lead to realization of God. That, of course, does depend upon the level of the master. The master can be a fifth plane saint, he can be sixth plane, but if he is not seventh plane, that is consciously God, having achieved God realization, become consciously aware of his reality as God, then he can't take anyone to that level. He can't take anyone else to that level. So, anyway, Rabia Martin, as I've said, being obviously a very sincere, genuine seeker of God, realized that although she had the title of Murshida as confirmed on her by Inayat Khan, she felt shortcoming of being a genuine saint, a genuine master of that level, fifth plane. And so she started to seek somebody that she could study further under. And in the process, she attended talks given by Princess Norina Machiavelli in New York, who was talking about Avatar Meher Baba as directed by him. Of course, also with her was Elizabeth Patterson, as well as other Meher Baba followers, and Rabia Martin became more and more convinced. Apparently, she attended talks over perhaps 2 years, and also spent time with Norina and Elizabeth, and perhaps others. But she became convinced that Meher Baba was Muhammad the Prophet returned, as he said he would, as God, as Avatar says, each time he comes, I will come again. And Meher Baba has said, in this Advent, that he will come again in 700 years. And so Rabia Martin, as I understand, told her senior people, which included the Baron in Australia, that she freed them from their vows to the Sufi society and advised them to follow Meher Baba. I do know, I have seen correspondence from Rabia Martin where she refers to Meher Baba as the Divine Beloved. It was quite clear that she was genuinely devoted, loved Meher Baba, and accepted him fully as God in human form. So the Baron became, of course, with that direction, he then began to write to India, to Meher Baba, and Meher Baba directed that one of his close Mandali, one of his close disciples, Dr. Ghani Munsif, Baba directed that he should reply to the Baron. And so correspondence began. And this was around the middle of the 40s, after the Second World War. And all I know is that when I had contact with the Sufi Society and the Baron in 1947, the discourses of Meher Baba existed. That is the 5-volume set of the discourses. Now, the Baron never remained in conflict until his death in 1950 over Meher Baba's status. He was unable, apparently, to accept Meher Baba as being God in human form. Whereas his chief disciple, or chief follower, Francis Brabazon, had fully accepted Baba, was convinced. Obviously, it was written that he would, and Francis had contact with the Baron, I think, in the early 40s. As far as I'm aware.
What about the other paintings that Baba laid also before that?
Yes. Yes, I know. Yes. Yeah. Good. Yes, we must cover that.